Field coming through turn 7, and the pace car now leaves the field in the hands of Denny Hamlin. He's on the inside of the number 11. William Byron on the outside of the 24. Green flag is in the air. We're racing into Glen. And right away, you see everyone jockeying for position as they dive into turn number 1. Michael McDowell on the inside of that 24 of Byron. McDowell trying to make this a shortcut into turn number 2.
Here they come up to the S's for the very first time. Denny Hamlin away with the lead, but Michael McDowell poised right behind him, ready to pounce. McDowell in the 34 has gotten by William Byron in the 24, and it's a 3-car breakaway heading up the back straightaway with this scramble on behind them.
McDowell just looking a little bit offline, trying to worry the 11 car a little bit into a mistake here. Awesome to watch these cars come through this corner, down into the carousel. Everybody nice and tidy right against the curb. You might put a little bit of right front tire on the curb there exiting.
McDowell's going to try to put a lot of pressure on Denny Hamlin. He came off the carousel with a little bit of forward momentum. I don't think enough to make a pass. He's showing it to Denny, saying, I want it. Denny blocks the spot. Now back in the throttle, approaching turn 7.
Confidence so high with the 34 team after the win at the Indy Road Course a week ago. Just his second career win, but right now they feel like they're the best on road courses as he has closed the gap once again. He'll look to the inside of Denny Hamlin as they go into turn number 1. And almost to the back bumper of that 11 is McDowell.
Michael McDowell tried to open up the inside line coming off the end of the front straightaway. He couldn't find the room he needed to race, but he is still in full court press mode on Denny Hamlin's back bumper. 2-car breakaway, the 11 of Hamlin, the 34 of Michael McDowell. Michael's going to square up and see, give him a good look as it were up the back straightaway.
Michael wants to be able to take this position if he can. The clean air would be valuable to the front of that Ford. He's pressing. Look at the rest of the field snaking through here. Everybody's single file right now early in the race. Being smart and cautious, trying not to make any mistakes. Denny up the track a little bit. Going to give up a little gain there to the 34 car.
Yeah, that allows Michael McDowell a little bit of forward momentum again off the carousel. That's the second time. He's closer this time. Still not close enough to make that move. Michael McDowell has tons of confidence. He believes he can take it to the 50-time race winner, Denny Hamlin, and get the lead of this race.
Fast, high speed, and if it's paved, they're going to use it, Rick. That's Watkins Glen. Exit of turn 1. You've seen it already. We'll see it again. Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell, as they turn in, will easily go driver's left over that curb and use all that paved runoff area.
Leaders come out of turn number 1. Michael McDowell not letting Denny Hamlin get away. Byron not letting McDowell get away. Everybody keeping each other at arm's length. But McDowell is there. This is the battle for the second spot as the leaders race their way up through the S's. The 11 of Hamlin, the 34 of McDowell, with William Byron in the 24 looking on.
McDowell again looking offline. Trying to get a little temperature into the brakes, trying to get a little temperature in the car, but also trying to worry Denny. Denny's looking in the mirror at the braking zone, wondering if he needed to defend. Again, a diamond in this corner for Denny. It's going to give him a little acceleration on corner exit, but the 34 is still there.
I feel like Denny's holding this group up a little bit. Look at William Byron. He's closed the gap. Ty Gibbs has closed the gap. Allmendinger as well. Denny Hamlin's going to have to find some speed. The pressure is coming. And as that intensity builds, every position matters this early in the race.
Looks like Hamlin might be holding up the 34 and the 24. Now, William Byron was great at Indy, but he had to start at the back, Steve.
Yeah, a little off the radar because he started last, but drove halfway through the field under green, finishing his time to top 15 as McDowell finally gets to the inside of Hamlin.
Side by side for the lead. McDowell made it work in turn number 1. He's there in turn 2. Denny's going to try to stay with it, but cannot. Michael McDowell in the 34 to the top of the leaderboard, and William Byron now closing in on Denny. Denny trying to throw a tad of a block there coming out of 4, but it's going to be a twofer. McDowell and Byron both passed the Hamlin car.
And Denny throws the block on Gibbs back there for third. Denny just got a little offline, I think. Got a little dirt on his tires, a little loose, all the way up through the S's. Trying to regain that momentum, sort things out, get back in a rhythm, get back to pace.
But Ty Gibbs and Allmendinger, they know Hamlin's not as good as those front two. So their job right now is to put all sorts of pressure on Denny Hamlin. We saw Denny up the S's. He almost made a mistake and got in the wall, pushing really hard, trying to keep the advances from coming from behind.
We look on from the Celsius onboard of Allmendinger there. It was a big pass for the lead, and it was set up coming off of turn 7. He had the speed. The 34 moves to the inside. McDowell forcing the issue here in turn number 1. Nowhere for the 11 to go. A little bit of contact, but that's the way McDowell took the lead away from Hamlin.
Then Hamlin enters turn 2 on the outside, and he tries to cross the wake of the 34. But right here, I can't tell if he just gets loose and corrects, but once he loses momentum, William Byron easily overtakes it, and he had to throw a big block on his teammate Ty Gibbs, or he was going to lose the next position as well. There you see it, a big slide in a very dangerous spot. Guardrails on both sides.
Watching the 9 car here, Chase Elliott trying to take a couple spots at 17 as well. Looking offline on Cindric. A little bit of dirt ahead, these guys. Oh, we got the 99 spun. A little contact with the inside wall there. Going to try to get it underway. Try to rejoin traffic. I'm not sure that contact was too severe. But cars trying to go through here and getting offline, getting in the dirt. Lots of dirt on the inside of the curbs. Just a little bit of dirt, a little dirty racetrack. Can make these cars slick. Here's a replay to see what happened. Watching Daniel right there, just jumping over the curbs, got behind on the steering. The curbs can upset these cars when you use them. You hit them the wrong way. Daniel very lucky, I believe, just to get out of that unscathed.
Yeah, Dale, it's almost like you jumped the curb and he turned the front tires with the car in the air. And when it landed, it turned back to the right. To your point, very fortunate. Not another contact with the car or even the arm code. Dylan?
So Daniel Suarez, we just saw that spin, came on the radio, said, I think I've got a flat spot. So he's still out there. You see him now, but that's not going to be a comfortable feeling for Suarez as he tries to stop the bleeding here and quit losing more spots.
Now let's take a look from on board with Daniel Suarez. Freeway.com on board, you're going to see him turn in. Now this next corner right here. Dale called it. It's all about the curbs. He kind of got his timing of steering wheel input over the curbs, kind of out of time. The car bounces to the right, gets very fortunate not to come back into traffic and not hit the inside wall. I mean, look at this right here, threading the needle with a barrier. Let's see what kind of contact. Oh, barely a kiss.
Yeah, he was running 10th. Now he's running in the 24th position. Remember, he was right there in the playoff bubble, 28 points back. But things have not been good for Suarez early in this one.
Here come the leaders out of turn number 1 as Daniel Suarez trying to get himself squared away there. Battle for the lead is still a good one. As it comes up to the S's, Michael McDowell's got about a 2, maybe a 3 car length advantage over William Byron. But they are starting to check out over Denny Hamlin, who has fallen to position number 3.
We saw McDowell dominate last week, but this 24 car was fast in practice this weekend, so no surprise to see William be able to match pace. Same thing we saw last week at Indy, just a different HMS car taking the fight to the 34 car here, exiting the carousel.
Yeah, William Byron had to start in the back last week because of a penalty served in pre-race inspection. So we never got a chance to see him racing in the front, but he had speed last week, had a good finish. Remember, only 1 caution last week, and he still drove up toward the front. So William Byron with a ton of speed in this car, and he's wanting to prove it today.
Rinse and repeats, deja vu. Yes, that's right. Michael McDowell, last week's winner, back out front here at the Glen. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Go Bowling. Go to GoBowling.com to find a center near you. Sonic Classic Shakes, just $1.99 all day for limited time only at Sonic. And by Credit One Bank, a credit card company.
Well, during the commercial break, Harrison Burton in the 21 right here, heading down the backstretch, running in 28th. In front of them, the 38 of Todd Gilliland and the 77 of Ty Dillon get side by side, and it forces the 21 to kind of check up here. There's nowhere to go. So as they enter, the 21 checks up, the 15 sees it, the 43 doesn't. 43 hits the rear bumper of the 15. Andy Lally, who then makes contact with the 21 of Harrison Burton, spins him off the top of the carousel. Now for the 21, it did flat spot the tires. He had to come to pit road. Currently has joined just behind the leaders, one lap down. You see just a chain reaction, but it started all the way back entering the bus stop, and it took until the other cars caught him in the carousel for the issue to really happen.
Gap between 1 and 2 right now is about a half a second. McDowell over William Byron, and then it gets a little bit tighter as they are running back there in the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions.
Watching that battle for the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot as you watch Michael McDowell and William Byron come across the S's, heading into turn number 4. They're beginning to get stacked up deeper in the field. That's Hamlin in 3rd. Here comes this battle from 5th, 6th on back, led by A.J. Allmendinger.
AJ trying to get around that lap car of the 21. Finally does. He's had great pace here this weekend. Really strong pace at the end of the Indianapolis race last week. Needs a win to be able to lock himself into the playoffs as you watch the 5 of Larson go around the 21 of Burton as well. Larson trying to make it 3 in a row here at the Glen.
Yeah, Larson's a really good road racer. This team heading toward the playoffs has got to find a way to clean up their races. They've got good speed, but they just can't seem to finish as well as they run. If they're going to make a run in the playoffs, a lot of work to do to get those problems cleaned up.
Let's get a few updates from pit road, and we'll start with race leader Michael McDowell and Dillon.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the mentality for the 34 team. Unloaded here at Watkins Glen with a pretty similar setup philosophy as what they had in Indy. And as you'd expect, it's worked pretty well. They've been really good through this section of the track right here through the S's. Michael drives that part of the track really well. And after that win last week, they've got no pressure, a fast car, and they are confident. What's there to not be confident about if you're Michael McDowell, Kim?
On the flip side, Denny Hamlin, this team brought something a little different than they had in Indy. He started from the pole, now in the 3rd position. Before he got passed, they told him, be nice and smooth, hit your marks. He's trying to rattle you. He, meaning Michael McDowell. McDowell was able to overtake Denny. Denny now being overtaken by William Byron, again, finding himself in the 3rd position. They told him to focus. There's still a lot of racing ahead of us. Don't lose your focus, Marty.
Kim, so far +2 for Chase Elliott back in the 13th spot as we ride on board with a Coca-Cola Zero onboard camera for Elliott, and 2 spots right in front of him. That's Austin Dillon right there, and just ahead of him, Joey Logano. Chase Elliott has top 5 lap times right now, but what's the strategy play that Alan Gustafson could do? By the book, Steve, it says pit at lap 21 and then lap 54. What could Alan do to maybe help his driver out a little bit on pit road, Steve?
Well, I think that what you mentioned about lap 21 is when we expect the leaders. Really, the only real option in front of him is to try to pit a couple laps early, maybe 18 or 19. Now, you're going to be uncomfortable on fuel, but if you're fortunate enough to get a yellow, that's that instant track position. But running where he is currently, I'm not sure if Allen's willing to take that big of a risk this early.
You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series. Go bowling at the Glen. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from all of your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. Seneca Lake, located just a few miles from Watkins Glen, here the racetrack. And for the 8th straight year, it has been sold out. So congratulations to Watkins Glen. What a great destination. Camping, tailgating, vacationing, enjoying a weekend of racing from right here in the Finger Lakes area. McDowell still out front. William Byron running second. Hamlin, Gibbs, Allmendinger, Larson, Bell, Wallace, Busch, all the way down to Reddick in top 10. And we take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap. That is Tyler Reddick. He turned a 72.104 second lap, averaging 122.323 miles per hour around this little over 2.4 mile road course.
Yeah, he has a fast lap, but right here you see was side by side with Christopher Bell in the 20, and then kind of got in there a little slow. The 23 of Bubba Wallace kind of took advantage of it. So did the 8 of Kyle Busch. I think that's good driving by the 23. Take that position as the 45 is kind of a little offline. He does a nice job to make it worse. Good work by his teammate.
Bubba Wallace trying to be stronger on road courses, and it's looking pretty good so far early on in this one. Again, a reminder as we have 5 laps to go in stage 1. There will not be a caution at the end of the stage. That's new to road course racing this year. So, Steve, that changes that strategy that we talked about earlier. Pit window's probably going to open here in the next 2 laps, around lap 17 or 18.
Well, if you're in the top 10, you're going to want to run the lap 20 to get those points. If you're not in the top 10 and you think you could make it on fuel or you're very close, you would want to pit a little early, especially when you start to see racing like this, pushing and shoving between Chris Buescher and the 2 of Cindric. Cindric has a whole line of cars stacked up behind him, and the 17 tried to be patient, but eventually he had to push his way through. The 48 of Bowman's going to try to follow into turn 1.
And pit stop is taking place now, Kim.
And Martin Truex Jr. really not happy with that car yesterday. Wasn't comfortable in it. They made some wholesale changes. Still not exactly where he wants it. Crew Chief James Small told me they'd be happy if they had a top 15 finish here today, Marty.
Jonathan Hassler saw that the 2 was kind of holding up that group. His teammate Ryan Blaney was at the back of that pack, coming down pit road here for 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They can connect it here to that second stop around lap 54. Expect other cars to come down pit road this time, Dylan.
And Daniel Suarez was in and out. He's completed his service. They had that spin, but I think they were still going to plan on stopping early on this first stint anyways. They're better on the long run, so expect them to go a little bit longer on this second run.
Bobby Estrella, that's a good vantage point from the top of the freeway.com onboard. Daniel Suarez, as we see once again the 2 and the 48 running nose to tail. Here's Chase Elliott. He's made his way onto pit road now, and again a must-win situation. So many people have been watching the most popular driver in NASCAR to see if he can win his way into the playoffs, Marty.
Rick talking to Alan Gustafson this morning. This is a lap he felt comfortable bringing Chase Elliott down pit road. They will be able to make it here on 2 stops, and they didn't want to have to save a lot of fuel throughout those 2 runs that will finish this race. Chase said on the radio, there's nothing I dislike about the handling of the car. We're just going to need to get some track position. This is how they're hoping they can do that. Now they hope for a caution, Steve.
Hoping for a caution or hoping for pace in clean track as we ride on board with the 9 of Chase Elliott. Look out front. That's what you want to see. No one in front of you. Nobody holding you up. Brand new Goodyear tires. Now, why new tires aren't worth a lot here at Watkins Glen, you know you have about 3 more laps until the leaders pit because they're definitely going to stay out to try to win the stage. Speaking of the 34 McDowell, who you see on the upper right, just crossed the start-finish line. So now the 9 is all about running the absolute fastest 3 or 4 laps he can. He was at the back of those 10 cars right outside the top 10. So if he can run 3 qualifying speed laps, he might be able to leapfrog some during the cycle.
Marty.
Here comes Joey Logano down pit road, who said he is loose everywhere. Paul Wolf asked him to describe what that meant. He said, I mean everywhere. Corner entry, corner exit. Tough handling day so far for Joey Logano, but he's been able to keep his track position for the most part. Going to be an air pressure adjustment in the Goodyear tires they put on, trying to tighten them up, Dylan.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was in the pits as well as he tries to move forward from the back of the field. You see him there. They'll go around and change the left side tires first and then swing around to the right sides. 4 Goodyears in Sunoco for Stenhouse.
So all those cars pitting are basically saying, hey, 72 laps to go in the race. I can get 35 or 36 laps per tank. So only one more stop, Dylan.
And Eric Almirola was down and away. I believe this is their second stop. I think they had to come in earlier, not real happy with the handling of that race car, but Almirola completes his service as well.
Now, Steve, the strategy that's coming into play here, McDowell on the last lap of this stage, there's a playoff point out there. Now that he knows he's in the playoffs, he wants to gain as many playoff points as he can get for winning the stage.
Well, a playoff point for McDowell, but remember, Byron, Hamlin, Gibbs is not currently in the playoffs. Larson, those drivers that are in the playoffs, Busch back there in 9th. This regular season standings, there are playoff points awarded relative where you finish in there. 15, then 10, then 8, and so forth through the top 10. So, and it's a very tight battle. So it's still a points battle. It's all about seeding in the playoffs. That's why these cars in the top 10 are staying on the racetrack. Now, the uncomfortable part is a yellow right now. All of those cars we've reported that have come to pit road, like the 2 of Cindric right here, they'll stay on the racetrack, the 48 of Bowman, and they would instantly get track position. That right there is the pit of the stomach feel for Travis Peterson, the crew chief of the 34, Rudy Fugle, the crew chief of William Byron. They have to stay on the racetrack, but they are not feeling good about it right now.
Ty Gibbs looking strong here in the 54, chasing after that 11 of Denny Hamlin. But it is the 34 of Michael McDowell who comes out of 7 and sees the start-finish line. He's going to win stage 1 here at the Glen. Again, the top 10 finishers all will gain stage points, but the winner of the stage gets a playoff point.
Right, and as we watch the rest of the top 10, Bubba Wallace, great work, staying right there inside the top 10. Cars that were not going to score points came to pit road, including the 3 of Dylan. Now I'd expect all of that top 10 to pit next time, Kim.
And Dylan reporting he was loose, especially the exit of turn 1. Just needed a little bit more rear stability on that race car. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel for Austin Dillon. Dylan?
Tyler Reddick at the bottom of the screen, able to get 1 stage point out of this stage. Just said the balance was okay. They backslid a little bit as they kind of got caught up there in that mess through the bus stop, but okay so far for Reddick, Kim.
And Ryan Preece, overall lacking rear grip, needs really good security to do the things he wants on the racetrack. Really frustrated with that race car as they finish service on pit road.
Now here comes the wave of all of the stage guys. Right here they come. I would expect everyone hard right-hand corner onto pit lane and probably all together. Let's see. McDowell, yes. Byron's on the racetrack. Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, chase him onto pit road. Now it's all about pit stop time for these 3 versus Byron, who says, hey, I'm going to run another lap on the racetrack. Dylan.
The only place that the 34 felt like they were getting beat by the 24 was through the bus stop. Otherwise, pretty happy. Only complaint for Michael McDowell said, we're just free, lacking a little bit of overall grip, Kim.
You see Denny Hamlin, bottom left. He said just a little bit tight. That makes it hard to get through the turns. 4-tire Sunoco fuel air pressure adjustment, Marty.
Kim, Rick mentioned an impressive race so far for Ty Gibbs, who has kept it in the top 5 the entire time. You see the race off pit road. They're going to make a slight adjustment for Gibbs, who said the car was pretty good, but lost a little bit of grip the longer they ran. The interesting part here is where do they all cycle out? Rudy Fugle made the last-second call, Steve, to leave William Byron out, taking advantage of that clean track you mentioned earlier. Will it be an advantage, though, once the pit stop happens?
Well, nice work by the 34. That's a smaller team, a smaller pit crew department to hold off 2 big teams in Gibbs. Oh, but the driver, Micah McDowell, a penalty. What he did a week ago was perfection. Great execution. This time, driving through too many boxes. You're only allowed 3. There's box 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remember, drivers on the left side, which is the same as Indy. They've done this. So let's just count this, right? As he turns right, he touches box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4. He's in pit stall 5. You can only drive through 3. It wasn't even close. It'll be a pass-through penalty for McDowell. A huge mistake for a driver that was perfect a week ago.
Marty.
What a development for Michael McDowell. Will have to serve that penalty. Meanwhile, Rudy Fugle making that call, leaving William Byron out. That 1 extra clean lap in traffic. A terrific stop by the team. Now we'll see where he cycles out. There thunders the field. Can he beat him out?
So remember, the 34 has to serve a penalty. Now, I'm not sure Byron knows that, but he knows the 11 is going to be the leader of the race. No, the 24, to Marty's point, running 1 extra lap. That lap time for William Byron so fast that between that and the pit work, I'm not exactly sure where it is, but you see it on the racetrack. He leapfrogged those guys. He now controls the race of the cars that have come to pit road.
See Kevin Harvick coming off of pit road. A.J. Allmendinger scored as the race leader. Still hasn't come to pit road as of yet, and so that's why he is being scored up front.
So McDowell is going to, you have a couple laps, right? You're going to be black flagged for a couple laps before you serve your penalty. Now, the funny thing is, I would serve it under green. I don't think I would wait. Because the penalty would be tail end if the yellow came out. That would be a bigger penalty. He's going to lose about 22 seconds, which is going to move him back.
That killed box is where you were into it.
Marty.
Matt Swiderski making the call to leave A.J. Allmendinger out an extra 2 laps as the field goes around. Quick stop for these guys. They're hoping, but he's going to lose a little bit of track position here. Dinger saying the car was out of the racetrack towards the end of the run, but having some pretty impressive lap times.
So on the left side, you see McDowell continuing to fall. He should lose 22 or 23 seconds through this situation of riding down pit road at pace speed. And here you go. You see cars on the left continuing to go by as the 34 falls. I think he's going to fall. Well, there you go. There goes
11th, maybe 12th.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where he's going to blend out exactly. Let's listen in.
Oh, because I drove through the empty box? Is correct. Empty box because it's an actual pit stall is what they're counting as when you can't drive through. It's not like an opening.
So the question mark is there's an empty pit box. So where the 34 car is pitting on pit road. This is not occupied stalls. That's not how this works. So there's the 34. So if we look right, the 31 is 1 box. Kevin Harvick is 2. The 99freeway.com is 3. Well, you see box 29 right here. I'm going to circle this box right here. Nobody's pitting in it. That doesn't change the rule. You're still only allowed 4 boxes. That box is empty, which makes it easier to enter for Suarez, Harvick, but McDowell doesn't have that box as an option.
Right along with the Goodyear onboard of Michael McDowell after serving the penalty. He comes back out on the racetrack in 17th. Out front, it's William Byron. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Such a beautiful afternoon here in upstate New York at Watkins Glen International, as William Byron has almost a second lead over Denny Hamlin now. Gibbs, Allmendinger, Larson, Bell, and Keselowski running in the 7th spot because he has not come to pit road yet. And very important for between Keselowski and Harvick, one of the two, we know for sure someone is going to get in on points, and those two are fighting for possibly that locked-in points position.
Yeah, as we ride on board the BuildSubmarines.com, look on the left-hand side, you see the playoff bubble. So Keselowski and Harvick and Wallace currently 3 in on points. If we have a brand new winner here, that'll take the Wallace spot. And even a brand new winner at Daytona will either bump out Keselowski or Harvick, but it's a points battle between those two to that guaranteed spot. And I think that's what you're seeing right here, the 4 of Kevin Harvick on the bottom of the screen. I want to take a minute and let Rodney Childers know he's not here. He had to go home for a family emergency, missing this race for the 4 car. He said on social media he was going to be in the SHR war room. So I don't know if he's listening, but we miss him at the track. Hopefully he gets back here soon. Marty.
Steve, so far in this race, the only driver not to pit, Brad Keselowski. Matt McCall making this call because remember they had to start at the back of the field today as we ride on board with the BuildSubmarines.com on board for Keselowski. Right now in the 7th position for Brad K. They can run about 6 or 7 more laps. They had to start at the back of the field because they had to replace the ECU in the car this morning. Trying to work its way up, trying to play some strategy, but it would just be a killer if a caution came out right now. They're hoping this kind of plays out where it is.
Yeah, but at this point, you know, they worked great strategy a week ago to score some stage points in stage 2. They just try to get off sequence, try to find a little something different.
Chase Elliott just in front of him, and Elliott now has moved up to the 7th position as he gets by Keselowski, and Elliott moving 6 spots ahead since where he started.
And that should put a smile on a lot of Chase Elliott fans' faces. He obviously needs to make his way closer to the front as expeditiously as possible. Brad's trying to do the same thing. There's Chase out of 4, all by himself on the racetrack, setting up for the entry to the inner loop.
Yeah, he's showing good pace right here, but 12 seconds back. They're definitely going to need a caution to be able to bunch the field back up. Don't think he has that kind of pace to be able to run down the leaders, Byron, Hamlin, and especially Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, to me, looks like the sleeper right now in the middle of this race. He's shown good pace before the pit stops, continuing that pace, hounding Hamlin there for second.
Yeah, Chase Elliott obviously picked up some good spots, but I agree with you, Junior. There's going to have to find some pace in this car. Obviously, going to need a caution or something to get everybody caught up, and then when they make a change, going to have to find a little bit of speed. The top 3 or 4, just like last week at Indy, just have the field covered right now.
I love riding on board right here. I mean, even with all the work that they're putting in, just look at how precise Chase is. Not a lot of extra movement. Like, he's not flapping around in there, right? He's very, very fighting the wheel a little bit right there over the curves, but just very precise with the shifts.
Watching him come up to the S's right now. That's a great shot of what he's doing in the car, making his way out of turn 4. And now watching him set up for the entrance to the inner loop. This is where he's going to get busy.
Yeah, it's a 5th, 4th, 3rd downshift. Usually running through here in 3rd. Another downshift into 2nd gear somewhere around the carousel. There it is, right into 2nd gear. Now for acceleration off the corner. Going back through the gears, back to 3rd before he ever gets the car straight over these bumps. Jeff, headed to you.
Yeah, you can see he was changing gears. Now watch under heavy braking. Downshift only one time because there's good momentum you can carry through this corner, turn 6. And then turn 7, you got to slow up a little more, so another downshift. Now it's really important to accelerate right here. Look at that wall, how close it comes to the driver's side. It's a bit intimidating for a driver to be that close to the wall.
Back on the front stretch, let's take a look at the progressive telemetry.
You see the work the driver's doing. Let's see how it's affecting the car, both in speed and what gear he's in.
Top speed so far, 135, 140, 145 as he makes the right-hander out of 4. And now this is where the speed really begins to climb.
Interesting to me, they downshift to third here and then second in the carousel. The carousel, not a slow corner, but the gears, the extra gear in the next gen just allows them to use that a little bit of acceleration and back to third before he ever even gets off this corner. Used to run the same gear through the carousel and the bus stop in the old car. Changed it up with this new 5-speed package.
Bubba Wallace has openly talked about needing to be a better road racer. So far today, a pretty strong showing. Sitting there running in front of his teammate Tyler Reddick. Tyler's in that 45 car. Bubba Wallace did get points in that first stage. Got 3 points for his stage finish, so a strong showing so far for Bubba.
Wallace running in the 9th spot, and Reddick just behind him in 10th. Again, stage 1, it was Michael McDowell. Right now out front, it's William Byron. Next Sunday, Alex Palou chases down another championship as IndyCar heads to Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. There's the bus stop, and you're watching the NASCAR Cup Series go bowling at the Glen from Watkins Glen International. Out front, it's William Byron. We want to go through the field, brought to you by eBay, and Marty, kick us off with William Byron up front.
Yeah, Rick, it may seem crazy to say this is an important race for a driver who has 4 wins in the regular season, but Rudy Fugle this morning told me, listen, we have to start building some momentum. Since their Atlanta win in July, they haven't finished better than 14th. Rudy told me, listen, we've had the speed, we have not had the execution. We need to capitalize today. So far, they're doing it, Kim.
And Denny Hamlin was running in the 2nd position. Now things have gotten a little bit shuffled up, but the goal today was to get stage points. They want to move themselves up in position. As we see them running in the 2nd position, wanted to get stage points in order to improve their position in the playoff points, because remember, if you are top 10, you're going to get additional playoff points at the end of the regular season. Marty, that was the goal from Chris Gabehart.
Maybe the best race so far of Ty Gibbs' rookie season, in third and stalking down those guys in front of him. He has a terrific car. Chris Gale told Ty Gibbs and the pit crew this morning, we have to win. We have to win either here or Daytona next week. They came in 49 below the cut line, and the young driver has himself in a spot where maybe he could pull that off. Kyle Larson in the 4th spot right now. He's won the last 2 races here at the Glen. Cliff Daniels told him a moment ago, we're giving up time in the first half of the track, but then we make it up and then some on the back half of the track. Larson looking pretty strong. So is A.J. Allmendinger, who they had a funny conversation on the radio a moment ago. Listen in.
He's doing tank good. He's doing tank good. He'll know exactly what you're talking about. Tank. T-A-N-T, tank? Well, I'm from South Boston. I don't know how you spell it. Oh, with your accent. I'm just making sure I'm saying the right word. You'll know what you're talking about.
So it's good to hear some laughter on Dinger's radio. And no, his wife Tara has not given birth to their son that's coming any day now yet. But maybe it's coming in this week, Kim.
Christopher Bell running in the 6th position. This team just looking for a solid day. They only had 2 top 10s in the last 7 races. Crew Chief Adam Stevens told me getting more out of their day is the goal. That's decisions they make strategy-wise. That's what they do in the pits. That's Christopher's decision on the racetrack. He's just losing lateral grip in the S's, and Adam Stevens coming on the radio just a minute ago to tell him you're also losing time in the carousel. You need to back up your entry. Marty.
Kim, Alan Gustafson call gave Chase Elliott some track position up to 7th right now, but starting to pay the price just a little bit. Lap time's falling off. Alan told him on the radio a moment ago, listen, the guys around us have better tires than us. Manage it as best you can. They still have to run about 20 more laps on this run to be able to get to that final window, Kim.
Kyle Busch running in the 8th position. This team has just been hemorrhaging points recently. Last 5 races, 3 finishes of 36 or worse. Their goal, they're 5 points behind Buescher for 10th in the standings coming to this race. They're looking to get some playoff points, and so they want to improve their position in the standings right now. Biggest weakness off the carousel. That car just will not turn, Dylan.
Confidence and focus, the mantra for Bubba Wallace this weekend. He said, I've surprised even myself so far, but I've just told myself this weekend, go out and simply do what I have to do to be faster. He's done that so far today. The key is not overstepping the entire race. It's easy to push yourself for 1 lap. He knows he'll have to find that next level and stays right at that level all day long. So far he runs in 9th, and behind him is 2311 teammate Tyler Reddick. Been just okay with the balance all weekend, and it's so close, as Billy Scott explained. Even if you're off just a little bit, it can feel like a lot in the Cup Series, and that's kind of the case again today. Tyler hasn't said the car is bad. They're just in a spot where it's hard to move forward, but they're in a spot to score stage points again, Kim.
Austin Dillon running in the 11th position. While they did not think today would be a win for them, they still wanted a solid and strong performance during the first run. Dillon said he just needed a little bit of help on the exit of turn 1. Way too loose after the changes they made on that first stop. The car really good. He said it's coming to him a lot faster this run. This team, Dillon, looking forward to next week where they know they can win.
Michael McDowell was leading, fell back to 15th after that pit road penalty. He's worked his way back up to 12th. Message from Travis Peterson, eyes forward. When we get through these cars to about the 7th spot, that's where we're going to really have our hands full. So pick them off as you can, as quick as you can, until we get to that point as we wind down the end of stage 2.
Those updates are unbelievable, guys. And Dylan, I think what you said right there for McDowell is the key, right? As quick as you can. He has a fast race car, but you can't get stuck behind this group. You need to find like a car a lap, which seems like a tall task, but that's really the required task if the 34 wants to drive himself back into this race for the win.
Under 3 laps to go in stage 2, and Steve, obviously without cautions coming out at the end of stages, it's not going to affect the strategy, but how much longer will we see guys on the racetrack? They've got to get into that final window. Is it around 33 to 35 laps that they have to be able to get to the checkered flag?
Yeah, I think you're going to start seeing guys 36, 35 laps to go, probably stretch their fuel the best you can. As you see a wiggle out of the 45, and the 3 of Dillon gets to the driver's left of the 45, so they still have a long way to go. I mean, that's what we talk about. We talk to a lot of drivers after Indianapolis. Kyle Larson specifically, you said that was the most physical, demanding Cup race of his career. Think about that. 77 straight laps at a relatively well-temperatured day at Indianapolis. Here we are, 38 laps complete at Watkins Glen at a much more physically demanding racetrack with no yellows, no rest for the drivers.
Racing for the 10th, 11th, and 12th positions right there. You've got Austin Dillon in the 3. You got Tyler Reddick in the 11. And Michael McDowell in the 34, trying to regain the ground that he gave up because of that pit road speeding penalty, or that actual pit road box penalty that he had right there. He's going to try to get some air on the nose of that car and try to get through these cars as fast as possible.
And remember the history of Pocono between Austin Dillon and Reddick. Austin wasted no time to get around that car when he could. Don't think he really muscled him out of the way here at Watkins Glen, but he certainly hustled around him down there in turn 6. Michael McDowell would want an opportunity to try to take a position from that car when it got slowed down by that pass, not able to do it. And we watch the cars race around here and we forget sometimes that how aerodynamic dependent this racetrack is. Very fast. So when you're in dirty air, your car suffers just a little bit. So passing opportunities will be few, and you'll have to be aggressive when you're presented with one.
Again, we were looking back to Pocono, where the 3 and the 45 got into it in turn number 1, and we saw Austin Dillon. The overhand throw, of course, to go bowling, it would have been maybe a better underhand throw here at the Glen. On the final lap, again, William Byron has about an 0.8 of a second lead over Denny Hamlin. William Byron looking for his 8th stage win of 2023. It's the most of all drivers, and William Byron just continues to fill that bucket full of playoff points with 4 wins already, and now another point there for winning stage 2. William Byron continues to look like the #1 seed as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. So again, the top 10 all earning stage points at the end of stage 2. It's Byron winning stage 2. McDowell won stage 1. He's currently 12th running around the track. As you see, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th finishers in stage 2. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with their access to in-car cameras, choose some alternate camera angles, and make sure you customize your entire streaming experience. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app. Always great to look back on these drivers and how hard they're working, how violent it is around there. We were just looking back at Michael McDowell. Look at how tight this is. Now, Ty Dillon closing in on the 11 of Denny Hamlin as we look at the Toyota driver update.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs in that 54.
Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, dominated yesterday. Contact on a late restart kind of took the Xfinity race away from him, but he looked great in practice this morning. Jeff Burton warned us all. He said this could be the day for Ty Gibbs. He saw some speed out of this 54 in practice.
Watching the battle for second between Denny and Ty. Ty's running Denny pretty hard right now. This is the battle for the runner-up spot. About a second and a half behind race-leading driver William Byron. That's Byron there in the 24. And as they funnel out onto the back straightaway, here's that battle for second. Denny trying to keep Ty in the rear view.
Yeah, it's hard to believe Ty Gibbs only has one top 5 finish this year, but he's been showing great pace here over the last several races, putting together some great numbers to climb into this points battle to chase for a final playoff spot. 26th here last year, but looking to do better today.
Ty led 70 laps in that Xfinity race yesterday. He dominated it, and he came in here with a lot of confidence. He's got Denny Hamlin in front of him, and he's a little quicker. Denny's holding him up a touch. The 24 is a little bit of speed, but he's caught some lap traffic, and this is an opportunity to gain on him. And Kyle Larson behind him is taking this opportunity. He's cutting that gap a little bit. He and Allmendinger are actually the fastest cars because of this right here. Lap traffic that the 24 Byron is dealing with.
And it's interesting to see the team owner of Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs running back there just behind him. Marty, what's going on with that 54?
Well, and Rick, to the point Junior made a moment ago, that first top 5 of his career came just a couple of weeks ago for Ty Gibbs. I asked Chris Gale this morning how he felt about their speed. His word, quote, excellent. And remember last week at Indianapolis, he was involved in a very early accident with Shane Van Gisbergen. He spun the 54. Ty was not very happy about it after the race. In that spin, they went back to 30th and with 0 cautions drove through the field to 11th. Chris Gale told me if we bring that speed today, we can win this race. Right now, showing that speed, trying to get around his teammate, Denny Hamlin. We'll see if he can do it in front of you, Jeff Burton.
Yeah, a lot of pressure right here. You can see Ty just needs a little bit more momentum off of these, long corners so that he can outbrake Denny. He just hadn't had a chance right there. This will be an aggressive move if he tries to pull it off. Kind of showed it to Denny, but Denny didn't fall for it, gave him enough room. Ty, aggressive, but also smart about it.
Well, look what traffic does as Ty is catching the 11, the 5 of Kyle Larson now in the picture as well.
It's gone from being a 2-man fight to a 3-man fight for second as they're being held up momentarily in lap traffic. Kyle Larson has joined the fray. Here's Hamlin, here's Gibbs, here's Larson, all working their way up through the S's, and they have a lap car in front of them, and then lap car separates themselves between the race leader and this battle.
Yeah, and I think that lap car actually is finally hurting the 11 car. The 11 car's had a lot of clean air to be able to maintain this position, but now as they go through traffic, this may present an opportunity for Ty Gibbs. It may present an opportunity for that 11 to struggle just a little bit and open up the door. Right here in the carousel, the 11 takes a little bit of a wide turn. Ty Gibbs gains several car lengths every lap through that corner.
Just not quite enough to be able to get enough pace on him. It's very difficult to outbrake a guy like Denny Hamlin. You gotta leave with advancing at him so you can outbrake him, Marty.
And to that point, Jeff, they told Ty Gibbs on the radio a moment ago, we have to get by the 11 if you want to be able to win this race. You've seen the aggressiveness from Ty Gibbs pick up. We'll see if he can get by his teammate, Denny Hamlin. 44 to go here at Watkins Glen. William Byron trying for his 5th win of the year. He's out front right now.
September 2nd on NBC and Peacock, the premiere of Big Ten Saturday night. First game, the Mountaineers of West Virginia are going to visit the Penn State Nittany Lions. Such beautiful views. 75 years of racing at Watkins Glen. They used to race in the streets of Watkins Glen, and now right here at Watkins Glen International, as Byron has a 2.5 second advantage on Denny Hamlin, who's running second. Then it's Larson. Gibbs was passed by Larson, and he is up to the 4th position. Allmendinger 5th. Bell is running in the 6th spot. Then it's Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Michael McDowell, and Bubba Wallace in the top 10.
Ty Gibbs right here, just he was pressuring Denny, and kind of Larson got him in traffic. And this is part of a young versus veteran driver. Ty Gibbs is fast, tons of talent. But you know, when you talk about what's experience do for you, it's kind of what Larson did, right? He found a weakness on the 54. You see the 54 still working his way through traffic.
He's trying to get by Andy Lally right there, who is a lap down to these cars.
Ty Gibbs was just as soon get by this Andy Lally car as soon as possible, because every minute that he does it, it allows Kyle Larson and company to get away, but it also allows A.J. Allmendinger to close in from behind.
We'll see what happens here in the braking zone of the bus stop. He's finally going to be able to get through. Now he can try to refocus. A lot of dirt coming up. No cars going off track there. A lot of dirt on the inside of the curbs, and when the cars get close to that dirt, they suck it off onto the racetrack like a vacuum. A lot of loose dirt put in here by the workers before the race, and so it gets a little bit dirty out there, a little slick. Drivers have to deal with it.
See Allmendinger right here. He's going to make a move into 7. It's a little bit of a risky move. Lally having nothing of it.
Andy Lally right now scored in the 33rd position, and Allmendinger right now running 5th, trying to get by him. Allmendinger not able to outbrake him into turn number 1 as Andy Lally stays right next to the curb, and Allmendinger still looking for another opportunity to pass Lally.
A couple of world-class road course racers right here. Andy Lally, which you're looking at in front of A.J. Allmendinger, and then Dinger himself climbing the hill across turn 3, and now easing out onto the back straightaway. Right now, A.J. losing a bit of ground through that trip to the S's.
Yeah, he had a chance to pass Gibbs a couple corners ago, and I figured he'd live to regret not taking that opportunity. See a little right front lock up there in front. Now he's obviously lost touch to the 54 car, trying to get around this 51 here.
Yeah, he did try to get around Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs lost the spot to Larson. Watch Ty Gibbs, comes off turn 6, was pushing hard to try to get around Hamlin. Look at how he lost the rear grip, and when he did that, he lost momentum. And now Larson gains on him, and now it says, I'm just going to outbrake you. Drives deep in the corner, puts Gibbs in a position to either give the spot up or give room or possibly get spun. Gibbs, a young driver, but a wise decision right there, giving way to Larson. Frustrating, though, because Gibbs has a fast enough car. He had a fast enough car. He got the tires hot on the back, and now he's trying to recover from that and see if he can get back going with forward momentum and positive action.
He's a few laps away from getting a fresh set of Goodyear tires, as well as fuel. Pit stops are going to be coming up. Byron's still out front.
Glen working lap 54. Ty Gibbs on pit road had to wait for the fuel. 37 to go. This is on the very early end of the window to make it to the end, Dylan.
And McDowell had another issue on their pit stop. It was slow on the right side as they changed tires. He'd done a great job to move forward into the top 10 after that penalty, but another costly pit stop on the McDowell team, Marty.
Ryan Blaney's been struggling with the handling of the 12 car all day long. He has been losing a few spots, but trying to hang on to the track position as best he could. He pitted from 22nd for fresh Goodyear tires, Dylan.
Daniel Suarez is still trying to recover from a lap 5 half spin that cost him a lot of track position. Waiting on the fuel there for Suarez. They're going to try to pack it full. It's right on the outside of the window if they can make it from here to the end.
You try to be mistake-free when you run a race like this, and Michael McDowell was mistake-free a week ago. Well, multiple mistakes this week. They were over the wall too soon this last stop, so another penalty, Marty.
Kyle Larson on pit road. The best question is, how can they get past their teammate William Byron? So Cliff Daniels making the call here to come a little bit earlier than William Byron. You have to wait on the fuel. That's going to be the struggle part here. You have to wait on that fuel to be able to make it to the end of the race with 36 to go. Joey Logano coming down pit road, been struggling with a free race car for much of the day, but they have been pretty good, just outside the top 10 for Logano.
Trouble out
Coming
of
down
turn
pit
number
road
4
now.
for Chase Elliott. Elliott is off the pace, and he's slinging the car back side to side. Chase Elliott has a problem coming out of the S's.
You have to
That
imagine.
man may be out of fuel. Alan Gustafson said earlier, flip the switch. When you flip the switch, in reserve, we have 3 laps. They told him a moment ago, you have 2 laps, but obviously Chase Elliott out of fuel on the racetrack, needing a win at Watkins Glen or Daytona next week. Looks like it's going to be a must-win for sure at Chase Elliott at Daytona next Saturday night.
He's going to come to a stop here in the middle of the bus stop. That's going to bring out a yellow as he can't get the car refiled. There's your caution. Big break for these cars on pit road, Steve.
Absolutely. As soon as they saw the 9 slow, all the leaders knew they had to get pit road. This was the chance for the 24 to have an error or lose control. In the end, it was a perfect counter by William Byron. Rudy Fugel, they got the pit road perfectly, Marty.
Oh, man, what a call by Rudy Fugel. Left him out a lap longer earlier in the race, got the track position, got into pit road in time on this caution for their teammate Chase Elliott and A.J. Allmendinger, also on pit road as Chase Elliott stopped on the racetrack. The 24 said he needed an adjustment. The end of the run is where they were the weakest, and they made that adjustment on this stop. But for Chase Elliott, golly, man, it looked like they had speed, but out of fuel.
And for Hendrick Motorsports, a double whammy. The Chase Elliott car runs out of gas, brings out a yellow, and on the green flag pit stop, the 5 of Kyle Larson, who just drove into the top 3 and looked like he had speed to compete. Too fast exiting. Now that we're under yellow, unlike McDowell, who would have had a drive-through, this penalty for Larson will be tail end. So give up all that magical track position. He'll start last when we restart this race.
Steve, I got to ask you, though, about the 5. Kyle Larson, how can he be too fast? His pit stall is like 3 away from the outline. Can you go too fast?
Well,
stopping there and then getting out that at the end?
Well, absolutely. There's small segments at the beginning and the end of pit road. It's a little downhill, which gets the car rolling a little bit quicker. And here at the road courses, you have the ratios much closer. I mean, these cars accelerate very well, a lot of rear tire. So the answer is yes, because he got the penalty.
Yeah.
You know, they have to go back and look at it. Here's Alan Gustafson. I spent some time with him this morning, and you could tell he was, you know, optimistic about the day, but this is just not what they had hoped for. So, Marty, they said they had 3 laps from the switch. That seems like a tremendous amount of fuel.
Yeah, that'd be 7.5 miles over the 7.5 miles, because it's 2.5 miles around here. 3 laps. That's a lot.
This is just such a huge, I mean, you see it. Everybody's riding by him as he's out. Hard to believe.
So Chase Elliott, Chase Elliott runs out of fuel, brings out the caution. Only 34 to go here at the Glen. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Applebee's. Help us crush childhood cancer. And by Go Bowling. Go to GoBowling.com to find a center near you.
Now, normally at an oval, we would say, man, you stayed on the racetrack and you caught the yellow. What a good break. And road course, not so much, right? So now Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Austin Dillon, who had yet to pit. You know, pit road is closed right now. You see the red light right here on the left, so they have to go out and run another lap. And now they're going to have to pit under caution, which the problem is other cars are going to stay out. We see the 48 coming right now. This could be purely because they're afraid of running out of gas. Yeah. Is that the issue for the 48, Dylan?
I haven't heard for sure, but I have to think so, because otherwise they wouldn't be coming down. So that's Bowman's going to come in here and they'll make sure they pack this thing full of fuel. All these cars are right on the number, so there's going to be a few more that even come down here that pitted before the caution. They're going to come down and just top off. So it'll be a 4-tire change for Bowman. You see the second can of Sunoco fuel going in.
Yeah, so Bowman, I agree, Dylan. I think he's just short on fuel. Couldn't run another caution lap. Didn't want to run out of gas like his teammate, Chase Elliott.
Beautiful sight here at Watkins Glen International. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Go Bowling at the Glen. Mentioned earlier, 8 consecutive years they have sold out this facility. People make this their vacation stop. They plan their calendars around this. They park next to their friends and take in some great racing. Pit road is open now, Steve, so we're seeing quite a few cars make their way onto pit road. Kim.
And let's start with Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch. Austin Dillon at the top there, he said, I cannot get into turn 1 without it being way too tight. 4-tire Sunoco fuel. His teammate Kyle Busch said, we need more of the last adjustment. It did not help. I'm still way too tight. This car cannot turn. 4-tire Sunoco fuel. He is waiting on fuel to get that full of gas, Dillon.
A tough break for Bubba Wallace to not get in before the yellow, but it's been a great day. He's scored points in both stages. Bubba's been happy with the race car. Booty Barker said, wait on fuel. We got to pack this thing full to make sure we're good to the end and good in case we get a green right checkered for Bubba.
Well, they've all talked about packing it full of fuel, Steve, and I think that's the big story right now because Chase Elliott ran out of fuel. As we see Larson picking up 3 spots on pit road.
Let's not forget, though, Larson's still under penalty,
yeah.
So he's going to have to go to the back. Here's Chase Elliott, who did get pushed all the way back to pit road, put fuel in, and the car did refire.
Saw Keselowski also making up some ground there. Remember, Keselowski and Harvick battling for that guaranteed spot based on points.
So now with all of this chaos, just a quick bit of house cleaning. Byron leads, Hamlin second, Bell third, Allmendinger fourth, Gibbs fifth, all pitted, you know, between 55. Gibbs was the first at lap 53. This yellow, you know, they're saving some gas right now, so this is definitely going to make all those guys feel a lot better about their fuel situations. Marty.
So Steve, Chase Elliott now down a lap. He'll have to race for the free pass. So let's go back to some radios that happened about 10 laps before they were scheduled to come to pit road. We'll take it when he says, hey, when I hit the switch, how many laps do I have? Here's what Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott said on the radio.
Got about 10 more. We're going to run to the switch. It'll be on you. We have 3 laps on the switch. So you will pass me twice once you switch it.
So then Chase Elliott came on the radio, said, I'm on the switch. Alan Gustafson said, fine. 2 more laps, you go by me. And then this happened. Listen.
All right, you're going to pit this time. This time, we'll get you a drink. Butter. I'm on 2. I'm out of gas. I know. Just come to us whenever you can. Get wrong information.
So, Steve, help me understand. What could the wrong information be that Alan Gustafson is talking about?
Well, Marty, it's a lot to digest. So I think the best thing to do is explain to the fans exactly what is in the fueling system of a next-gen car. For that, we're going to go to our Toyota virtual car and take a look at the fuel system. Remember, all these parts are the same for every organization. We're going to go to the back. That is basically the steel fuel cell area to protect it. Inside is a bladder. It's like a... Think about a polycarbonate. It's to keep the fuel from leaking out. Let's take the back wall off. The yellow is just foam to keep the fuel from sloshing as we go around. That's looking to the forward part of the car. On the right side is a fuel pickup. On the left side is a fuel pickup. Those boxes are where the fuel goes up towards the engine. We fill it up with fuel. As fuel goes down, you see that both boxes become exposed. So we sit right here for a minute. The switch. They fill them up and they run and they shut this box off. They are running on just this box alone, and what they think is when the fuel finally runs out, we're going to run our car out of gas here, we're going to flip the switch, and that turns this box on, which still has some fuel left in it for when it was full. That then feeds the engine. That's this, quote, reserve we all talk about. Now, some guys here at the road course might actually wire them the other way, since we're always turning right, but the simple idea is you have a box full of fuel to get you back to pit road. Now, the misinformation, Marty, to the whole crux of this, has to be how far you can go. 3 laps at Watkins Glen is basically 2 gallons just shy, 1.7 gallons of gas, 1.7 laps per gallon. There is 0 chance that box holds that much fuel. Right. 3 laps at Charlotte maybe, 3 laps of Richmond maybe 4 laps. But at one of the largest racetracks we race at, as are most road courses, at north of 2 miles, 2.5 miles really, that has to be the misinformation. To think they could run 3 laps on the reserve, a simple miscommunication. We talk about pressure to make the playoffs, pressure of a season where you've lost your driver for a bunch of races. There are so many details these crew chiefs have to go through. Alan rarely makes a mistake, but this is a mistake by the 9 team.
All right, Kyle Petty, Brad Doherty, let's dive into this a little bit deeper from the Peacock pit box. What does this mean for the 9 team now at Daytona?
It means it's all or nothing. That's exactly what it means. And I think this mistake, and you heard Alan say, bad information. Does that bad information come from the pressure that was put on them for this one race?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, this has been building and building and building. We get into today's show. Can they win it? Yeah, they can, but they haven't shown the ability to do so over the past several weeks, so the answer is no. Now we move on to Daytona, must win. I don't think they go there and win it. There's been too many mistakes by this race team, and the lack of consistency, for whatever reason, is just not there. We see this now. This is going to cost them a chance to win this race today. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. Watching this race from down here, guys, there have been more mistakes by the guys that are on that bubble that we talked about in pre-race that needed to have the perfect race. They've not run a perfect race down here. Although you guys are doing perfect in the booth.
Excellent up there.
Excellent job in the booth.
Yes.
Excellent job.
Hey, snacks are coming your way, Kyle. That's what I like to hear right there. That was like agreed.
We love the praise, and I think, Brad, it was white wine that you were
Yes,
wanting?
Chardonnay.
Yeah, Chardonnay.
A case.
A case. Not a bottle, a case.
We will take care of that. As we mentioned, this affects the guys around the bubble, too. You've got Bubba Wallace, who's running really well right now. He's 28 points above Ty Gibbs. And we mentioned mistakes. Ty Gibbs, one of those drivers that's having issues today. But the 4 and the 6, again, if there is another first-time winner or a winner new to the playoffs this race, that means that only one potentially could get in, locked in based on points.
Now the drivers have taken a breath, hopefully got a cold drink of water. We're going to see 30 to go when we take the green. Everybody should be good on fuel near the front. This is just who has the best car.
We saw earlier a statistic, over 3 hours of green flag racing just ended with that caution. Back underway at the Glen. Right back into the gas quickly is William Byron in the 24. He's got that inside line with Denny Hamlin diving on that outside, and he gets right up to the door. Contact made as they come off of turn number 1. It's Byron surging ahead of Hamlin.
Byron will keep the lead as they enter the S's, watching the race for 3rd, watching the race for 5th, double wide through the S's. Doesn't happen a lot. A.J. Allmendinger in the 16th, pressing the point on the 20 of Christopher Bell. Leaders out of 4, setting up for the interlude.
Big scramble behind them for 5th position there. The Gibbs cars, Truex and Ty Gibbs sorted out. Still side by side behind them though, a lot of contact. A little bit of dirt flying. Cars racing down into the carousel. This is the opportunity to try to get as many spots as you can. Take advantage of everything around you.
A.J. Allmendinger now sitting here running in 4th position. Fourth position, I'm sorry. He is back in the game. I think he has enough speed. He's going to have a shot here. You'll see him push it exceptionally hard.
We see Christopher Bell up here as well in the 20. So Bell has dove into the top 4. We'll see if he can do anything with that track position. It's Byron, Hamlin, Bell, and Allmendinger the top 4. And just behind them is Gibbs.
Watching the leaders funnel downhill into turn number 1. Little contact further back. Ryan Preece there in the 41 as they get stacked up. Coming out of 1, continuing the downhill run into the S's. That's the 2 of Cedric right now. He has found himself in a lot of traffic this afternoon. Cedric looking on board with Brad Keselowski. Keselowski trying to find his way through after this very chaotic restart.
Field starting to single file out now after about a lap. Denny Hamlin really wide. He's going to lose a spot, the 20 down to the inside to the carousel. All as we're watching the back of the field mix it up. Have to see how this sorts out for 2nd, battling toward you, Jeff Burton.
Yeah, William Byron driving away from everybody right now, but there's Allmendinger. That's what I talked about. Look how aggressive he is. He can see that lead. He can win this race. That'll lock him into the playoffs. He's going to have to get aggressive with Bell and Hamlin to get by him because you can see Ty Gibbs is coming behind him quick.
And when Colleague put Allmendinger in this Cup car up from Xfinity, it had to be for these moments. To make the playoffs, he's so good at the road course, you had to think he had a chance to win one of these races. Today it could pay off.
A.J. Allmendinger right now running in position number 4. Christopher Bell out the windshield. There's A.J. wrestling that car up to the S's, just trying to shut the margin down between himself and Bell in 3rd as William Byron starts to slowly tiptoe away from this field.
Yeah, all the mistakes that Hamlin's made, the car just not comfortable these first few laps after the restart. That's allowed Byron to get away by a 2nd. But now the 11 trying to settle in, trying to get a little comfort between him and Bell in 3rd. Allmendinger right there to pounce if anything should happen. Truex and Gibbs closing in on this battle.
And Christopher Bell, don't count him out as well. He is a good road racer, a previous winner on road course. He's looking to get his year turned around as well. They have good speed, but they also have trouble connecting the dots and finishing races as well as they run.
Joe Gibbs Racing running 2 and 3 right now with Hamlin and Bell. Both have already won this year, so they're in the playoffs. Byron has 4 wins already. Allmendinger, the first one that's closest to the front that hasn't won, that could shake up the playoff picture. Kim.
And you heard Jeff talk about Chris Bell's previous road course win, and his crew chief Adam Stevens has all his confidence in the driver here at road courses. He said they suit Christopher so well. It rewards aggression at road courses, and he is inherently aggressive based on how he came up through the ranks. So we'll see what he can do in the closing laps. But Marty, giving up a fight to him, Allmendinger is putting the pressure on Bell.
Yeah, Kim, 27 to go in 3 spots stand between A.J. Allmendinger and a berth in the 2023 playoffs. Talking to Matt Swiderski, his crew chief, this morning, he said, honestly, the season has been way rougher than we thought. But I think we have maybe the best speed we've had all year long. People forget, after Ryan Blaney spun us last week at Indianapolis, we had a top 5 car for the rest of the day. They were trying to come up through the field at Indy. They didn't have the track position. They have it today, Jeff. Can they take advantage of it?
They do have it today, and a happy A.J. Allmendinger. It's a fast A.J. Allmendinger, and right now, you know he's got to be smiling with a shot.
Yeah, he's very fast out there running right now in that 4th position. Byron, Hamlin, Bell, Allmendinger, the top 4. And then Ty Gibbs, he's another driver that if he is able to find victory lane here at the Glen, he could shake up the playoff picture as we saw the 34 McDowell dive in and take a spot.
Michael McDowell driving it in deep, coming into turn number 1, trying to get it by Ryan Blaney. He'll do that. He'll lead Blaney now to feel the heat from Tyler Reddick. Reddick into 45, just muscling his way under Ryan Blaney at the top of the hill, and they'll drag race their way into the interlude.
Blaney on the inside here. I don't know who's got the preferred line. Blaney's going to back out, allow the 45, the position to not slow either one of them down. That's a great move. If he doesn't do that, he's at risk of losing even more positions to the cars behind him. Gives up that spot there, sort of regroups a little bit, tries to keep positions.
And behind Joey Logano in that 22 car, that yellow 22 car, is Todd Gilliland in the 38. Teammate of Michael McDowell, a young race car driver in his 2nd year in this Cup Series. He's a good road racer. Puts the pressure on Joey Logano, our multi-time champion.
Gilliland running in that 12th spot. Everyone chasing Byron. 25 laps to go at the Go Bowling at the Glen from Watkins Glen. Want to see which drivers are on the move, brought to you by Ashley Furniture. And from the start of this race, you see Gilliland, Blaney, and Truex Jr. all gaining 13 spots, but the one who's gained the most is the driver of the number 6, Brad Keselowski. 19 spots that he has gained, and he's headed right at you, Jeff.
Yeah, that could be important. He and the 4-car of Harvick in a tight battle. If he were to get a new winner today, that means they go to Daytona in a very tight point battle, and only one of them would possibly not make the playoffs. So he's been able to gain some points on the 4. Kevin Harvick running 24th, and the 6-car running 15th.
As they run, a 7-point advantage for Brad Keselowski over Kevin Harvick, assuming that a new winner would happen here and at Daytona. So as we ride along with the BuildSubmarines.com onboard, you take a look at the point standings.
Yeah, that's our regular season we talked about. That really shakes things up with how many points are going to be awarded.
And again, at the end of the regular season, so after Daytona, all the drivers that are in the top 10 will receive playoff points, starting with whoever wins, which Martin Truex Jr. could lock up that regular season championship today. If he wins the regular season championship, that's 15 playoff points he gets to carry into the playoffs with him.
5 more than second, who gets 10 points, third gets 8, and so far down through the list.
Leaders on their way back to you, Jeff.
Yeah, William Byron is just putting a clinic on right now. Denny Hamlin doing all he can to keep pace. And this is just a tight battle. Drivers talk about how hard it is to pass. That's because all the drivers have stepped up their games. The teams have stepped up their games, and it's just highly competitive.
This is the time that we have seen on the runs where Denny Hamlin seemed to almost be holding up some of the drivers. There's a pretty good gap between himself and Bell. Allmendinger and Gibbs all right on his back bumper, but Byron has a 1.8-second lead over Hamlin.
Hamlin in second. You've got Bell third, Allmendinger fourth, Gibbs running out the top 5. These drivers, they're not running the exact same speed, but close to it. So now they're having to rely on slips from other drivers to make up some ground, and that's just not happening right now.
Yeah, Byron in that clean air run of 0.4 of a second lap better than the rest of the field, better than the 11 and everyone else. He's got that clean air. Denny Hamlin also in clean air, but he's got everyone else behind him struggling. The 20, having a hard time getting close enough to be able to make any type of move. And you see now A.J. Allmendinger closing up on Bell.
Yeah, you can see A.J. what he's trying to do. It's all about, you want to try to outbreak him, guys. He gains a little bit into turn 6, but in order to take advantage of that, he's got to be closer to him when he leaves the carousel. So everybody right now is working on how do you roll the center of the corner better so you can be where you need to be on corner entry to outbreak someone.
20 laps to go in this race. And out front, it's Byron, Hamlin, Bell, Allmendinger, and Gibbs, the top 5. As we ride along, and we're riding along there with Allmendinger. Marty.
Boy, Rick, just a clinic by William Byron, as Jeff mentioned a moment ago. He's led all but 24 laps so far today. Byron certainly needs a win and some momentum heading into the playoffs. I know he'll be excited. I know the guy on the bottom right will be excited too. Rudy Fugle, his crew chief, is from Livonia, New York, and that's his home, about 50 miles from this racetrack. Grew up coming to this racetrack. Lots of friends and family here for Rudy Fugle. A hometown win would be some terrific medicine for the 24. As he heads towards you, Jeff.
Yeah, we saw Rudy Fugle last night. He feels really good about this race team and where they are and the possibilities for them moving into the playoffs. Look, the competition's going to get stepped up. You're going to have to be better in the playoffs than you are in the regular season because everybody finds a way to get better, and this team feels like they're ready.
Rudy Fugle really raised the competition level of this 24 team when he came over. He was crew chief to William Byron when he was running in the Truck Series, and then didn't make that big jump up to the Cup Series with him right away. But when they made the change, boy, things have changed for the 24 team, and they have continued to get better. 4 wins already this season.
He's been flawless at this end of the racetrack, coming up through the S's. He's not had to bully the car. He's not had to be very aggressive with it, except when he's had to make some moves around lap traffic. It's just been a normal free flow for William Byron, who's done a great job here in turns 2, 3, and 4.
Denny Hamlin, the last couple of laps, though, has been able to at least stay flat, if not gain just a little bit on this 24. I know Byron has a pretty healthy lead, can sit out there and really just be clean and smooth, but the 11 not letting him get away just yet. You're starting to see a little distance between the second, third, fourth, and fifth place car. We'll see if anybody can run down this 24.
A little bit further back in the field, Kyle Larson, remember, he was running 8th and he had a penalty on pit road, and he has clawed himself. You know, had to go all the way to the back and start and get through so many people. So he's driven back to 21st. Here he is. And look at this fight that he's in. I mean, there's Austin Dillon, Cindric. A lot of good cars. From 30th so far, an aggressive move right here. From 30th all the way up to 21st and fighting for 20th.
How small differences can make a difference. Larson had to start tail end. McDowell also had a penalty, but he had one extra lap where he could do the pass-through. So he started up inside the top 15 and currently runs 8th, right? So both had penalties, both under green. One had time to serve his penalty, one didn't, and that's the difference of, what, 20 spots on the racetrack.
Kyle Larson's just in the weeds right now. He's been trying so hard to break free from this, but he's not been able to. He'll pick off one here, one there. But right now he's following Austin Dillon up the back straightaway, just trying to chip away at this deficit that he finds himself in. Some 17 seconds worth for the leader.
Yeah, I mean, the cars he's running around aren't slow cars. And as they get more and more laps on their tires, the more they slide around, the more that grip goes away, the harder it is aerodynamically to be able to position yourself to make that pass. And you can see the differences between all these cars. You're not going to outbrake somebody. With the brake packages they have in these cars, the brake zones are super short.
You can see Cindric in that bright orange car. Typically we expect to see him really fast on the road courses. Not had it today, and he's kind of got everybody bottled up behind him. They get to him, they catch him, run him down, and then they have a hard time passing him because he does such a great job of protecting. Oh, we got a spin with the 10 car.
And the 10 around, but keeps going, and we will stay green. So Eric Almirola in the 10 spins. He was running 28th and has the Go Bowling on the hood. So that was coming out of 7, it looked like.
Oh, just loses it. Yep. Just rear grip. We've talked, we've heard a lot of drivers talk about rear grip, lateral grip. They all describe it a different way, but you got to be able to lean on those rear tires. And right in the middle of the corner, the 10 of Almirola spins around. Great move by the 9 of Chase Elliott to miss the spinning 10 car right in the middle of the smoke. This will get your attention right here.
Gassed it up, made sure that the car wasn't there anymore.
Drive through the smoke.
Drive through the smoke. We've seen that in a movie before. William Byron maybe making his own movie here, 1.8 seconds out front.
And it's all gone bad for Michael McDowell. Just a lap ago, he came on the radio and said, feels like we're maybe losing power. And then he said, everything's shut off. So that's why he's in the pit stall here. He said that the battery is still indicating that that's on, but the team is not exactly sure what the problem is. But last week's winner is in the doghouse this weekend. It's not going to be another win for McDowell.
Yeah, when he came through here, just before he went to pit road, the car sounded awful. Engine coming apart, hand grenaded here late in the race with 14 laps to go.
From highs to lows. I mean, when you win at Indy one week and then you come here and you have an engine expire on you or a mechanical problem that gets you out.
So this is awful, but I'm a true believer that you're going to have so many issues during the year, so many mistakes, so many penalties. You try to limit them, but you can look at it two different ways. It is definitely not the day Mike McDowell wanted with 2 pit penalties and now a potential engine issue, but I guess thank goodness they all happened on the same day.
He's trying to refire it here. Let's listen into the onboard.
Does not. You can really tell on like throttle tip in back to the gas and just, oh boy.
Yeah. It just shut off there.
Yeah, that is definitely not good. And then got a little fortunate. It was a couple guys were catching him and they barely avoided him there. What are you hearing, Dylan?
Well, so Michael thought it was maybe the motor that just quit, but the team thinks it's maybe more something electronic. So I think they're going to try to change an ECU. You see one of the crew members in the right side window there. That's where all of that is located. So they're trying to diagnose if that maybe is the issue, and if it's fixable, they'll get McDowell back on the racetrack, but still in the diagnostic phase right now for the 34.
So ECU basically, it controls the engine, electronically controls the engine. Interesting enough, Brad Keselowski changed one. That's why he had to start at the back. I have no idea if they're connected, but ECU is not a thing we normally hear a lot of, and here it is with two teams, both Fords, both with ECU issues. If that is the case for the 34, man, it seems very coincidental to have 2 on the same weekend.
Yeah, they continue to work on that. He would be the first car off the racetrack and out of the race if he doesn't get it running again and able to refire. Now just 13 laps to go, and William Byron still with about a 1.2 second lead.
Yeah, Rick, and everybody, I believe, is good on fuel near the front. Looking at when they pitted, assuming they got it full, they should be fine. So at this point, what you see on the racetrack is the battle, right? I think even with the yellow, these guys aren't coming to get fresh tires and going to continue to battle amongst themselves.
It's pretty impressive watching William Byron and the lead that he has. Now down to 1.4 seconds over Denny Hamlin, 1.36. It toggles back and forth depending on the part of the racetrack as they crest the hill going to turn 4. Byron right now is in cruise control. Hamlin and company just trying to catch up to him and give him a run for his money.
Yeah, right now pretty even. As far as the race cars, the lap times. Who will make the mistakes, who won't? Can Byron be mistake-free? This is a part of the racetrack where you need to be perfect. Jumping over the curbs. They've done it all day long, but they're getting tired. They're getting physically tired, mentally tired. This is where the mistakes can start to happen late in the race.
There's no doubt about that, Junior. There's been a lot of green flag running, and it stresses you. It's difficult on you. This is a very fast racetrack. A lot of G-forces, more so here than most road courses, and in jumping those curbs, it wears on you. It's hard on your body. These cars hit the curbs exceptionally hard. Not like the old cars. It's violent when you hit the curbs with them. See Brad Keselowski still in that tight battle with Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace. Again, Brad's done a nice job today. Struggled in qualifying, but sitting right here running in 14th.
Just in front of him is Bubba Wallace. As you mentioned, Brad Keselowski riding along with him. But Bubba Wallace running in the 13th spot. Stenhouse Jr. is running in 12th, and we're seeing the 34 getting pushed back. Dylan, I believe, just let us know that the 34 is done. So they will be out from the all-time high of winning at Indy to the low here of not being able to finish at the Glen.
Watching the rest of the field here. Come down the back straightaway. Bubba Wallace in that 23 battling with Keselowski. Kyle Busch in that 8 car. Kyle's had a fast car most of the day. Kind of stuck behind a few cars I think he's a little bit better than. It'll be tough though to get by him. Brad drives real tight around that bottom. It's a great way to make up a little time on the car in front of you. 23 is vulnerable here in the braking zone in 6.
Brad did not get quite the run it looked like he was going to get. Bubba was able to drive away from him, but in front of them, that yellow car, that bright yellow car, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. running in 12th place. We don't think of Ricky being that, that great of a a road racer, but right here today, he's having a good run, staying in front of some really good race cars.
Sugarland shines, and Ago on the side of the 47 for the Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Under 8 laps to go. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Go Bowling at the Glen. Again, the race before the last of the regular season. And next week, it's Daytona International Speedway to determine who the 16 drivers will be that will fight for that Cup championship. On Friday, countdown to green and Xfinity Series racing for them, and it's not the end of their regular season. They will have 2 more races. Then Saturday, the Cup Series on NBC and Peacock. Countdown to green starts at 7 o'clock there. 2 night races from the world center of racing, Daytona International Speedway. Dylan, I'm sure, standing by with a very dejected winner from a week ago, but out of the race now.
Yeah, bummer way to end it for Michael McDowell. So we heard you're on board, but what did you feel and hear behind the wheel of the car there that led to the problems?
Yeah, we're not really sure. We'll have to go back and look, but just the highs and lows of motorsports coming off of last weekend, but still really proud of my guys. This Love Child Top Ford Mustang was really fast. Had that penalty early, was still able to drive back through the field, so really proud of the speed that we had. Just wasn't our day. A couple pit road penalties, and then engine just shut off there. Not sure if it was engine or electrical, but just came out of the carousel and it shut off.
And you mentioned just the execution and the speed that you guys had despite those penalties. So we go to one road course in the playoffs, but how encouraged are you just by where this team's at as you look set to go to the playoffs in a couple weeks?
Yeah, we feel great. I mean, it's not the finish we wanted, but a lot of speed the last 3 weeks here, so excited about heading into the playoffs. You know, it wasn't our day, but I'm still proud that we won a stage and led a lot of laps, and I think we had one of the fastest cars here today.
Yeah, absolutely. They were definitely fast, but not the finish that McDowell's going to deserve.
Yeah, playoff point for Michael McDowell. He did win stage 1. William Byron, who won stage 2, out in front. Let's go through the field. Marty, start us off with Byron.
And so far, Byron has earned 19 points, trying to get 5 playoff points here with his 5th win of the year. Rudy Fugle told me, hey, the summer has been rough to us, pretty much Williams' entire career. I don't know why that is, but we need something to turn things around. So he told William earlier this week, I want you to approach Watkins Glen and Daytona in an NFL term, just like preseason games. We have nothing to lose. Let's go get a win. Looks like they're 6 laps from doing that, Kim.
And Denny Hamlin running in the 2nd position. He's been quiet on the radio. The team just reminding him over and over, hit your marks, focus. That has been on repeat for Denny because a mistake by Byron puts them in a position to pounce in these last 6 laps. Running behind him, his teammate Christopher Bell. Crew Chief Adam Stevens told me a good day goes a long way mentally for Christopher, and recently he's been really hard on himself. Adam Stevens has said, I've tried to refocus him. Right now, just especially loose in the right-handers for Bell, Marty.
So much effort at Colleague Racing went into this car for A.J. Allmendinger riding on the board with the Celsius on board for the Dinger, sitting in 4th right now, but looks like they're going to come up a little bit short, the car, and the hopes here at Watkins Glen. A.J. got his first career win here, finished 2nd last year. They felt like this was their shot to earn the playoff berth. Ty Gibbs having a solid run. The problem is a solid run not going to get him into the playoffs. Gibbs staring down his 2nd top 5 of his career. They came in minus 49. He's going to gain some points, but he's going to leave still below the cut line, Kim.
Martin Truex Jr. running in the 6th position. Talked to crew chief James Small, who said they would be lucky if they finished 15th today. They were not comfortable with that car. They needed to be lucky if they wanted anything out of this day. Well, fortune fell on their side. Chase Elliott bringing out the caution. They had pitted right before that. They were able to gain track position due to that caution. That car still not great, although Truex able to maintain. He's saying loose in, tight center, loose off. Everywhere it just feels a little bit slow. And then right behind him, Chris Buescher running in the 7th position also found themselves on the good side of fortune with where they pitted relative to where the caution fell. Right now, Chris saying he just needs more rear grip. Dylan.
Gritty 8th place run going on right now for Tyler Reddick. They had a mystery issue with the left rear earlier that had them outside the top 15, but they hunkered down, tried to figure out exactly what it was, made a couple changes, and got Tyler a little bit more comfortable. Billy Scott, working with him for the first time this year, said the thing that's impressed me the most about Tyler is he's fast everywhere, even if the car is not perfect. That's the kind of performance that Reddick's put on today. He's made a good day out of a day that didn't look like it was going to be that good, Marty.
Dylan, let's talk about a couple of nice rally for 2 Team Penske drivers. Ryan Blaney started 23rd today. There's only been 1 caution, but Jonathan Hassler has made the car better on every run. Ryan Blaney's last top 10 at a road course came at Sonoma of 2022. It's been 8 races since they finished in the top 10 on the road course. Looks like he'll get that done today. And Joey Logano kind of struggled with the handling earlier on. Wasn't very good in practice. In fact, Paul Wolfe told me this morning, if we can get out of here with a top 10, that'll be a good day for us to build some momentum moving forward. Looks like they will finish top 10. He's in 10th right now, Kim.
And Marty, as we talk about good days, how about the day Todd Gilliland is having? Although he was one of the first to stop under green last on pit road, lap 51 has to do some serious fuel saving over the course of this run. But Gilliland, they were looking just to turn their season around. They had a good stretch of races going for a while, but then recently they felt like they've been down on speed, not had their best performances. They wanted to consistently get back to being in the top 20 and then hopefully some top 10s. Right now, Dylan, running in the 11th position.
Bubba Wallace has talked all weekend long about how he's going to have to focus the entire race distance today to get out of here with the best finish they can. He's done that. Stage points in both stages inside the top 10. They fell back after missing pit road before the yellow came out. Bubba has just done everything right today. Hit his marks, not made mistakes. They run 12th right now. This is well on track to be his best career effort at Watkins Glen.
Well, and the best thing that Bubba Wallace can hope for right now, even though he's having a great run, is for someone who has won already to win. And that's what William Byron is doing, which means that it doesn't knock him out of that 16th spot in the playoffs. So Bubba Wallace, although he can't win, or potentially can't win with the run that we're seeing out of William Byron, it's going to be end up being a good points day for that team.
Well, Brad Keselowski right here is thinking the same thing. If Byron can just go on and win this race, then both Keselowski and Harvick Burton are going to think, we're locked in, we're into the playoffs, sigh of relief with only Daytona remaining. Byron would be good for the 6 of Keselowski.
Oh yeah, Brad Kay and Kevin Harvick both, they are really wanting this thing to go green, 2 to go. William Byron, you're just controlling this field. He's just been so impressive today. You know, think about his last few races. They've not been good, but 4 wins on the year, that's more than everybody else. Getting ready to add another one, it looks like.
And a great point. If William Byron does end up winning this race, Kevin Harvick, Keselowski both could lock themselves into the playoffs. So William Byron now under 2 laps to go.
Yeah, we talk about him need to reestablish himself in the hunt for the championship. It's only been 5 races since that last win. He's won more stages than any other driver, 8 after today's race, and he's got more playoff points than any other car. As we're heading toward the playoffs, this car here is looking really good. Winning on a road course would be a great statement.
And historically, this team's not been good in the summer. They've run really well early and late. That was one of their goals, was to fix that. And it started to trend back the wrong way over the last month and a half. But today, the speed and one more lap, they can prove to the world they can win this championship.
One more right here.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. William Byron, a little under 2.4 miles away from his first road course win as he makes his way through 1 and headed toward you, Baggy, in the S's.
What a day of a flex for William Byron. Rudy Fugle, that 24 team, Hendrick Motorsports, up through the S's for the final time. He'll cross over the tunnel, exit out onto turn 4 and the back straightaway. William Byron headed to victory lane.
No traffic ahead. Won't have to deal with a single car all the way back to the start-finish line to finish this one out. Easing through the bus stop for the final time. No mistakes. Not aggressive on the curves. Late downshifts, doing everything he can just to be smooth and perfect on his final lap.
5 wins in a row for Hendrick Motorsports at Watkins Glen. If he can make it to this last quarter of the racetrack, and not only 5 in a row for Hendrick, but a call to the field. I'm ready for the championship battle. Let's roll.
A career year already for William Byron as he comes up on the checkered flag and getting his first road course win. William Byron is going to win at the Glen.
Great car, great drive, great spot. Thank you guys. Thank you. Woo! Oh, Jack, baby.
Here, look at this as they were coming off of turn 7. You see the 3 of Austin Dillon parked there.
Reset your ECU.
Drivers trying to get across the finish line to end this race, and Dillon was sideways. Take a look at why.
2 wide, maybe 3 wide there. It looks like Larson is to the inside of the 3. Oh, Larson with the big slide makes heavy contact. The 7's there as well. Both ends up going around. I didn't see that out of Larson. We only saw the 3 sitting there. Larson must have gets it refired here pretty quick, I'm guessing. Yeah, Larson kind of cannonballed off in there.
They were fighting for the 19th position.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's something going on earlier in the lap, because I believe Larson was ahead of the 3 getting the white flag, and I'm just kind of curious what might have happened down in 6 or somewhere in that final lap to get those 2 cars racing like that.
That comes from a voice of experience in road course racing.
Look a few laps or a few turns ahead and find out. William Byron getting the congratulations from his peers as he makes his way back around. There's Jeff Gordon. He was the last one to take the 24 to victory lane at Watkins Glen. He did it 4 times here.
Yeah, 4 times in his amazing road course run. And it's William Byron, you know, to step into that car number, right, and the history it has in the sport. And Rick Hendrick, everyone believing in him. This is a breakout year. When this young man is done decades from now, circle this season. This is when William Byron showed up on the scene with 5 wins.
This checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts, celebrating in front of the sold-out grandstands here at Watkins Glen. There went a tire. And he parks it on the finish line. He'll grab the checkered flag. Again, 5 wins on the 2023 season. Most wins he has had in one season in his very young career. Only 25 years old. Rudy Fugel's 8th win with Byron. You know, that New York native Marty talked about earlier. Marty.
Boy, Hendrick Motorsports knows how to get it done at Watkins Glen. First career road course win for William Byron. Rudy Fugle told you earlier this week, treat these last 2 regular season races, William, like they're preseason NFL games. That looked like a postseason warning shot more than anything else. Maybe the most dominant win of your career, William?
Yeah, I'd have to think about it a little bit, but definitely feels really good, man. It's, you know, just a huge credit to the race team behind me. And I want to thank Max Pappas. You know, this first road course win, we've worked years and years for this. So just thanks to him. I know he's watching back home. And thanks to all the guys on the team, Valvoline, Liberty, Exalta. I did a lot of laps on iRacing this week. I got a new simulator at home. So thanks to those guys. And just thanks to everyone back home for the guys who support me. And yeah, it's a great win. You know, I don't know what it means and all that. I don't read into that, but I think you know, it shows that when we're at our best, we can perform like this.
Getting it done in front of the Watkins Glen fans. I don't think anybody's going to cry poor with your 5th win of the year, William. But how needed was this for the 24 team after the summer slide?
Yeah, we just
Let's go! Woo! Pit crew coming in. How needed was this, William?
Yeah, it's you know, we seem to go through that summer slump in July and August, and for some reason we just can't quite put the races together. I think it's the racetrack itself, and yeah, just came this weekend with a good mindset. You know, focusing on trying to get ready for the postseason, and we've had fast cars, we just haven't executed races, but today it was flawless, and just Rudy, everybody, all the spotters. So just thanks everybody. This is a cool win. Like I said, road courses have been tough, so it's fun to get a win.
It's Rudy's hometown race. He's from Livonia, nearby here. So how about his call to get you that track position, running 1 lap further on that first run than everybody else?
Yeah, it's just really good strategy by those guys. Brandon McSwain on the box. So those 2 guys work really well together. Ryan Kelly back at the shop. It was kind of like the old F1 style, you know, stay out, get clean air, get a good lap in, and we pitted there and got the lead, and it was kind of ours from there. So just really proud of the team. Yeah, really awesome to get a road course win.
William Byron, Rudy Fugle stocking up those playoff points, Rick. They put another 5, actually 6 after that stage win in the bank today.
They sure did. And William Byron's going to now head to the Ruoff Mortgage victory lane, where he will celebrate with his team once again. And the hat dance, pictures, trophies. They have been collecting them for that 24 team. A dominant performance indeed, as we just heard from Marty. 66 of the 90 laps were led by William Byron. Michael McDowell, again, a pretty impressive performance, 17 laps out front. But nobody had anything for Byron once he got out front. William Byron, another win, his 9th career, and it comes at the Glen.
copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.